Broncos country, it is one of my favorite times of the year here on the channel. We have officially made it to draft season. The NFL draft is in just 1 month, and we are seeing mock drafts all over the internet. People are mocking players to the Denver Broncos to fill some of their remaining needs that they still have on their roster. And when you look at especially the offensive side of the ball, I'm looking at 2 big needs that the Denver Broncos still need to fill in the draft that they didn't really fill in free agency. Inline tight end, we talked about how Evan Ingram doesn't really fill that role in a separate video yesterday. He's more of a big slot receiver, and obviously running back. The Denver Broncos still need to find who is going to be their RB1 heading into 2025, and it's for that reason that a lot of people are mocking running back to the Denver Broncos in the first round, and the guy who is most commonly getting mocked there is Omarion Hampton out of UNC. Hampton is a really good player. I think that he's probably going to go pretty high in the draft, but is he the right fit for the Denver Broncos with the 20th overall pick? I gotta be honest, I'm a little bit skeptical. Let's go ahead and bring in Hampton's scouting report from NFL.com. I would love to show you some film of Hampton, but there are certain colleges out there, and UNC being one of them, that would rather you eat dirt than showcase their film in a monetized YouTube video. It will almost instantly get claimed for copyright and demonetized, so I cannot show film as much as I want to. I've got some film, I just can't show it. But let's go ahead and look at the strengths and weaknesses of Hampton per Lance Zierlein. He's a high-volume battering ram with a 3-ingredient recipe of size, strength, and aggression. Hampton is a linear runner, lacking creativity and wiggle, but once the gas is engaged, he runs like a downhill truck whose brake lines have been cut. That sounds a little bit like Javonte Williams, and no, that is not me helmet scouting. This sounds like pre-injury Javonte Williams in terms of some of these strengths, and as we get into the weaknesses, some of his weaknesses also match that of pre- and post-injury Javonte Williams. He has the base balance and power to batter tacklers and reignite runs after contact, but fails to recognize alternative run lanes that offer easier paths and more yardage. Again, that sounds a lot like Javonte Williams. He needs to work on his pass protection, but can create positive plays on swing passes and screens. This is where I would disagree. I actually think that there's a lot of positive reps of him in pass protection on tape, so I would defer from Lance Zierlein's opinion on that just a little bit. I actually think that he's a more than adequate pass protector and is one of the better pass protecting running backs in this class, so I disagree with that particular set of analysis. Hampton is a tone-setting future starter who can handle a heavy workload, but he absorbs rare levels of heavy contact that could create durability or longevity issues if he doesn't learn to pick and choose his battles. Again, who does that sound like? Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams would never fail to leave yards on the table before his injury, but it was that same tendency that got him injured to begin with. So that is a similar concern there with a guy like Omarion Hampton. Zierlein's NFL comparison is actually Ramondre Stevenson. It's not a direct apples-to-apples comparison of Javonte Williams, and I know a lot of people like to helmet scout because both of them went to UNC, but they're similar. They're not the exact same players, but you look at what Omarion Hampton's player profile is, it's very, very similar to what Javonte Williams was coming out of UNC before he suffered that disgusting injury in year 2. Strengths: big back with an impressive chiseled physique. Access to a sudden lateral jump cut to elude penetration. Displays adequate burst as an off-tackle runner, has the hips and feet to stack downhill moves, runs square, and dives through tacklers with good contact balance. That is one of my biggest pluses on Hampton. I love his contact balance. He's not somebody who's just going to go down and flop down after getting popped. He's going to fight through that contact. But again, there is that risk there of getting injured when you have such an aggressive play style. Willful with the ability to go get must-have yards with force. requires gang tackling to keep an ember from relighting, and is a capable option on swing passes and screens, which again is a very positive asset. You look at some of these weaknesses though, and it just makes me wonder, is Hampton really a difference maker? And that's what I saw on tape, man. I just don't necessarily know if he's going to be a true difference maker that justifies being worth a first round pick in the draft. One speed, long stride runner with a limited one cut ability, slow vision to diagnose lane development and change run tracks. That's one of my biggest problems with Omarion Hampton's game. That is fixable. You can coach that, but it's something that's going to probably take a little bit of time. So day one starter right out the gate might not be on the table here for Hampton. Bangs into blockers and lacks adequate elusiveness. That reminds me a lot of Javonte. Too eager to leave his feet and take abuse in the air. Below average speed to win wide and turn the corner. So you're not going to use him on a ton of outside runs. He's more of a downhill, up the gut kind of guy, which is what the Broncos are looking for in a running back. 6 foot, 221 pounds. So we know that he has the build to take punishment. But even when you have the build to take punishment, that punishment's going to rack up, and we saw it happen with Javonte Williams, and that is why he ended up falling off of a cliff in the NFL, was because all of that punishment that he took stacked up, and it led to him leading to get a really serious injury here. And I just don't think that Omarion Hampton is going to be a guy that's worth taking that risk with the 20th overall pick, when you are going to have guys like, I don't know, Kenneth Grant or maybe Derek Harmon on the D line that should be available around that pick. I think those guys would be a more immediate day one impact player for the Denver Broncos. And when you pair that with how deep this running back class is, I mean, there are starters that will be found in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, even 6th round of this draft. In day 2, I see guys like Caleb Johnson, Quinshawn Judkins, Travion Henderson. Those guys are all very capable starting backs in the NFL. And I think that I'd be a lot more comfortable investing a day 2 pick on one of those guys than I would investing the number 20 overall pick in kind of a risky player in Omarion Hampton. That's just how I see it. I know a lot of NFL teams are high on Hampton, and I believe the Denver Broncos are also high on Hampton. If they believe that he is that last piece that they need in this offense to really make it dynamic and explosive all the way across the board, then yeah, sure, go for it. Draft Hampton. But if there's any lingering doubt there, then I would much rather go with a position like D-line in the 1st round, and then you can add a starting level impact player at running back on day 2, and you would probably get a better return on investment. You think about some of the recent running backs who have been drafted in the 1st round. Bijan Robinson immediately comes to mind. He's been a good player in the NFL, but if the Falcons had to do it over again, I bet you they would not have drafted Bijan Robinson in the 1st round. There are just a lot of teams out there that end up having buyer's remorse when they draft a running back in the 1st round. It's dangerous business, and my philosophy is that player has to be an almost guaranteed 100% immediate impact player, somebody that you just cannot refuse to take. But at the end of the day, I don't think that Omarion Hampton is that player. Ashton Genty is probably going to be that guy in this draft class, and that's why he's not going to last much further than the Raiders with the 6th overall pick. Hampton, I don't know, man. We'll have to see. Time will tell with this one. Alright guys, be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section below, guys. How do you feel if the Denver Broncos were to draft Omarion Hampton? Do you think that he would be an immediate difference maker in this offense, or are you like me and do you feel like maybe a more immediate impact position like D-line would be better in the 1st round, and you could go out and get probably an equally good player as Hampton on day 2, maybe even early day 3? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts as always. And until next time, guys, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.